Welcome back, folks, to the Uneducated Philosopher. It's me, Robbie Colosico. I'm here to read an email that I got from Brenda from Calgary. Hello, Rob. I was wondering if you could give your philosophic views on using animals like dogs, cats, rodents, apes, etc. for testing human behavior. Is it not inhumane to use reward and punishment on harmless animals for observation? Well, when I look at it, of course it's inhumane depending on what is being done. And the issue with that is it depends on who you're talking to, because so many people have different degrees on how they feel about animals. I mean, some people, they're absolute dog lovers, but they don't really care so much if you dissect mice or rats or whatever. And then there are some people that feel an animal is an animal, either way you look at it. Me, when I look at the subject, I can't help but to think, why do we use animals to observe their behavior to get a good idea on human behavior? I mean, our brains are so much different. I mean, if you take the makeup of the brain, how it's been for the last 200,000 years, we share a lot of similar things that we do to other animals' brains. The closest would be the ape, but we still have more that they don't have, which would make things completely different, in my opinion. I mean, okay, let's just do a quick rundown of what the brain consists of. Okay, so you have the hindbrain, all right, which is our original part of our brain, our oldest part, the lizard brain. And that filter sensory input. It controls autonomic systems like our heart beating, our lungs breathing, things that we don't think about that our body needs to live. There's a part of our brain that runs that whole system for us. It's automatic. Then we have our midbrain that evolved after, that generates our emotions and manages our old and new memories. And then in the last 200,000 years, we developed our forebrain, and it's the most advanced part of our brain. It's the top part that comes over, and that receives and stores and interprets information and initiates voluntary action. It analyzes our sensory input. It enables our language and reasoning processes. I mean, it basically makes us who we are today. And that's what gives us the advantage that we have over the other animals on the earth. And chimps, for example, like, they don't have a fully developed forebrain. Okay, they're missing like the frontal lobes. So when we use them for experiments, it's it's kind of difficult because they don't have the same things that the human brain has. Like, I was looking at this interesting documentary a little while ago, and it showed test experiments that they were making with apes. And there was a board with little grooves in it, and there was these shapes that they had to match up to put inside the grooves. And they were doing it with apes, and they were doing it with 5-year-old children. And so with the apes, they would get a reward every time they could match an object into the shape. They would get a banana. And every time a child matched the object into the shape, the child would get like a sweet or some sort of treat. And this went on for a little while, and they were matching it up all the same. But then what happened was the experiment got a little bit different, where they would put like a little notch on the bottom of the object, so that you couldn't fully place it in the groove where it would actually stay and stand. It kept falling over. Now they would observe both sides, the 5-year-old children and the chimps. Now the children, after a few times, they would try to put it on and they couldn't figure out what was going on, and eventually they would take their thumb and they would rub the bottom of the shape, and they noticed that there was a nudge there, so they would just put it down and say, okay, you know what, there's no point of trying because it's set up so that this won't fit in. But the chimp kept trying over and over and over again, because the chimp couldn't figure out, it didn't have the reasoning to figure out that there was a nudge at the bottom so that it wouldn't fit in perfectly. So it kept like falling over, it wouldn't fit in perfect, but the chimp wanted the reward, the banana, so bad that it kept trying and trying and trying and trying and trying, that eventually you had to take the object away from the chimp or else it wouldn't stop trying. And that's where the lack of the frontal lobes comes in. I can give you another example. We can train chimps and apes to drive. Now, we do it the same way, like the Pavlov, Skinner way, with rewards and punishments. So, you know, if you teach it how to drive and it drives correctly, you give it a reward. So eventually you can treat it so that it is behind a light, there is a red, and when the green comes out, it drives. Once it goes past the intersection, you give it a treat. It knows that if it drives during the red, then it won't get a treat. It might even get some sort of punishment. The only problem is the ape doesn't have the functioning to foresee troubles. So what I mean by that is, if the ape is sitting behind a red light and all of a sudden in the intersection someone comes driving and they break down in the middle of the intersection, if the light goes green, the ape will punch on the gas and drive straight into the car, because it doesn't have the reasoning, the frontal lobes, to say, oh no, wait a minute, there's an object in my way. All it knows is that the green light went on, it's going to get a treat, the banana or whatever, so it's going to punch on the gas and it's going to smash right into the car. No matter who it kills or whatever, that's irrelevant. It's not thinking about any of that. So having said that, I ask myself, well, what's the point of using these animals that don't have the same capabilities and same brain mechanisms that we have? Where we might be able to get a good idea by studying animals, but I always have to question how authentic it really is. I think the only way is by doing human experimentation. Now, obviously, you know, it can't be in a lethal way, not in the same way that they've been doing with the animals, which I believe they shouldn't be doing anyways. But the experiments, like social experiments, should be made more and more, and not so much animal experiments. So I hope, Brenda, that answered your question. If not, you could always email me back. And I'd like to thank everybody for keeping in tune with the website. It's growing every day. And if you have any questions, you know where to contact me. RobbieColacicco@live.com. RobbieColacicco@live.com. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much. Cheers.